So after diving headlong into a crazy computer, I think we are finally heading towards the end of Act 3 of Kentucky Route Zero. Things are quite crazy right now, I think. We are in the Hall of the Mountain King, talking to these sort of insane people who believe in a moss-covered computer and are burning electronic parts at a giant funeral pyre. I don't know how to explain any of this, so we're going to their fateful leader, Donald, to hopefully get some answers, because I am feeling lost in the best possible way. Donald, so you've seen it for yourself, what's left of it. Pretty busted. The chalky bones of a beautiful dream. But you can see what it once was, can't you? Can't you? There was so much more to it. Ornate labyrinths of memory, exhaustively simulated parallel cave ecosystems, real artificial intelligence built on sophisticated neural network algorithms. The birds in the forest could flock in 3 dimensions. The bats could learn to sing. Are we in his virtual dimension? Is that what all this is? And then it began to crumble when the strangers came. At first, we only heard them, walking heavily through the caves, dragging things around, hammering and clattering their tools. Sometimes we heard working songs, never close enough to make out real voices, just their echoes cascading wordlessly in the tunnels. Then we caught a glimpse of one. What did they look like? They look like... No, it's too horrible. I shouldn't be telling you about this. They're dangerous. They're strange. I should never have tried to outwit them. They were always too much for me. But it's too late now. If I'd listened to Lula, Lula Chamberlain? Yes, of course. Do you know her? We're looking for her now. No, she's gone now. She left. We built this together. Did you know? Lula, Joseph, and I. Lula is gone from here, but still in there, in Xanadu. I don't know where Lula is now, or how to get there from here, or how to unwind that damn tangled highway, but Xanadu, before its ruin, was faultless as an oracle, a shrine to perfect simulation. I wonder if Kentucky Route Zero is Xanadu. Like, is that what that is? But maybe... Those weird interlopers destroyed my Xanadu. Perhaps they know how to fix it. It may be dangerous. I've sent many eager seconds to negotiate with them, to repair my masterpiece. Back there, that tunnel. Push back the vines, crawl out into the darkness. Watch your step. After a while, you'll feel the terrain change beneath your hands and knees, from rock to crystal, and then to mud. Then you'll be out. That's where the strangers come from. Now leave me alone. I still have a bit of mold in my pipe and a few dreams left. I wonder if this is really the answer to all this. Is Xanadu Kentucky Route Zero? Are we in a simulation of some kind? I mean, obviously the game's a simulation. It's a fucking video game. But what? There's got to be a bigger answer. Where are we now? Some sort of graveyard? Oh, there I am. Where's my glowing lake? How am I supposed to figure out where I'm going? Well, this can't be right. Looks like an old church. Worth a look inside, I guess. I want to stay outside. Why? I think I saw a lizard. I'll stay with him. Okay, we'll make it quick. Lots to look at here. Headstone. I'm gonna look around for lizards. An epitaph is engraved on the stone grave marker. Garrett Paul's generous disposition will be missed. Below the inscription, a note is written in white chalk. Fill date June 29th. Notes of almond. Huh. Somebody eating the corpses? Hopefully not. An epitaph is engraved on the stone grave marker. Paolo Pedersini and Nick Schernick. We think you two really would have liked each other. Okay. Below the inscription, a note is written in white chalk. HT819892B. Fill date July 24th. Weird finish. I think these are all going to be quite strange. Gregory Menenga. Always had a far-off look. Probably still does. Fill date August 1st. Aftertaste of rainwater. Just want to find that lizard, man. Ricky Grove or Matthew Duhamel. So they don't know who's buried here. Fill date September 8th. Sweet and fungal. I know that an epitaph is engraved in the stone marker. Sarah Fox would have wanted it this way. Fill date September 9th. Maple turpentine. This is weird. I say that a lot, I'm sure, during this game, and I apologize. It should just be assumed that this is going to be weird. Brendan Atkins should have said something. Fill date November 1st. Sense of foreboding. An epitaph is engraved on the stone grave marker. Unknown. Seems reasonable. Fill date November 2nd. Easy on the nose. Junebug. Let's go talk to her. Find any lizards? I wasn't really looking. Nice cover story, kid. Is that guy your boyfriend? Nah, what's a boyfriend anyway? It's a word people use because everyone else does. Doesn't mean anything to me. He's my cricket. See? It means something. It's specific. I want to be specific. I think you are. It's the middle of the night, and here you are in a graveyard. Any other kid your age would be in bed. You've just got to make choices and own them. You think I was born this foxy? I came off the assembly line about a half-foot shorter and all gray. No eyes. No eyes! They were going to have us clearing out the old mine. Doesn't matter what you look like under all that rock and water. A bunch of gray shadows shoveling and hammering invisibly at the walls, draining the tunnels. Johnny found some gear, an old tape player. We hid away in an underwater cave, listened to it over and over, and we knew we weren't miners. We slipped out onto the road, just these two featureless shadows, and ever since that night, we've been detailing, coloring in, specifying. I feel more like myself every day. It's kind of a beautiful sentiment, even if it is a little disturbing. But I like the idea that we color ourselves in every day. I feel less like myself without my folks. Sure, some people are born into a family. Nothing wrong with that. Alright, here comes the dynamic duo. We're like the Avengers of weird travelers into the Twilight Zone. There you are. That was a weird way to say that. There you are. What'd you find in there? That's my weird, awkward announcer voice. It wasn't... Hey, what's going on? You look flushed, old man. Doesn't matter. Right, okay. We got what we need. Let's go. I want to know what was in the church. Damn it. This is scene 10. I want to know what happened in the church. We're back to the Hall of the Mountain King. Let's talk to Donald. We got what he needs. Trace an orbit round the road and close your eyes with holy dread, for we on mold and whiskey fed and drank from rivers down below. We found your strangers. We know how to fix your damn machine, but I'm not sure it was worth it. Oh, soon the visions will return. What have you found? They say you need to type a specific phrase to restore it. Oh? bit of a poem to rally the illustrious spirit? Of course. Well then, type away. By all means, do not hesitate. Type away. This guy wants his computer running, so let's go over and take care of that. I'm not talking to all these other creepers, though. They were weird. They might have something cool to inform me of the story, but they're probably just going to freak me out, so we're just going to head back to the computer. Alright, let's do this thing. I don't know what the phrase is. Okay, we're supposed to type dome in the air. Weird. Just following instructions. Here we go. Scene 11. It just keeps on climbing up. How many scenes are there in this act? We need to type dome in the air. I need to remember that. Xanadu. At end of road. There's a house at the end of the road. Is it Dogwood Drive, maybe? Maybe that's the house where we're supposed to be going. There's a lot of speculation going on in this episode. I'm sorry. At this point, I'm just trying to make connections where there probably aren't any. You are standing at the end of a road before a small brick building. Around you is a forest. Check out the building. Inside building. Bolding. Lantern? It is a lantern. You are inside a building, a storage shed for the National Park Service. Awesome. There is a sensible, modern electric lantern nearby. The lantern. Taken. Exit building. Enter forest. That's not something you can enter. Just type a direction. North. In forest. There's the trees, I guess. You are in an open forest with a deep valley to one side. Can we climb a tree? I don't think much is to be achieved by that. Sorry. Can we dig a hole? You can't see any such thing. Pretty limited vocabulary. South. You're in forest. Hey, it's a maze. East. You're in forest. Lula is here, soldering replacement components in a small handmade radio. Oh, we should talk to her. Ask Lula how she is doing. Hi, Donald. I'm getting the strangest interference out here. I've been tuning the radio's circuits gradually as we go, swapping capacitor values and tweaking resistor networks. It was working for a while, but everything I can pick up sounds so distant and muffled. Lula hands you the radio. Well, maybe you'll have better luck. You're good at this stuff. Just don't forget to give it back. West? You're in a forest. Joseph is here, tapping with a small stylus on a modified pocket braille slate. A small gray kitten, no more than a few weeks old, dozes comfortably on top of his backpack. Maybe he has something to say. Listen. Donald, I was just transcribing your footsteps. Sounded like... Joseph runs his finger along the index card he's been tapping on from left to right. Long, weary song, drearily gone, dreary gone. You beat a melancholy shuffle through those woods, Donald. Ha. I have been noting down the sounds of the forest with an ear for speech and an inborn filter for poetry, I suppose, so maybe it's me being melancholy after all. I'm eager to see what the poetic subsystem makes of these punched cards. North? This is a strange... At edge of hole. I don't know what to make of all this. It's kind of blowing my mind. You're at the edge of a massive hole. The dirt gives way to rock as the ground sinks into darkness. The computer tied to your upper back slickens with sweat in the afternoon sun. The rope slung around your shoulder has slipped under the strap of your backpack, leaning uncomfortably against your collarbone. Shine the lamp into the hole. Light lamp. Your lamp is now on. Shine lamp and hole. Lamplight only reaches a few yards down the hole where the rock is coated in a slimy black mold. You can tell that the walls are too slick to climb safely without assistance. Yell into the hole first to see if there are any pirates. Yell. I only stood you as far as wanting to yell. Yell any pirates down there. No response. Sorry, kid, you're batting 0 today. Even this is going to get that crazy 0 treatment. At least we know there's no pirates. Try using the rope to climb down safely. Tie rope to tree. The rope is tied snugly to a tree. Down. Your feet slip a few times on the slimy rock. You remain stable. Lula and Joseph descend carefully after you. Okay. In bed quilt. I didn't know I was going to be typing up The Legend of Zork today, guys. This is an old-timey computer game. You are in Bed Quilt, a long east-west passage with holes everywhere. Joseph and Lula remove the computer equipment they are carrying on their backs and begin setting up. That's the last trip, so everything's down here now. Set up the gear. I only understood you as far as wanting to set up the above. Set the up above. Lula looks pensive. Ask her where the treasure is. Ha. If we knew that, we wouldn't have to set up down here. I know you think this environment will help our project, get us in touch with a deep romantic reverence for some kind of profound natural spookiness, but I was more comfortable in our lab. The university picked the worst time to cut our funding. Typical instructional stinginess and academic politics. I mean, I felt like we were really getting close to something... Anyway, I don't know if it's sustainable down here, to live and work here, together. Ask her about the cave. Having second thoughts? I don't blame you. It's unsettling down here. Weird acoustics. Earlier, as we were climbing down, I thought I heard voices for a moment, or not voices themselves, but the echoes of voices, singing, some kind of eerie, tuneless working song. I'm glad I'm not down here alone. They must have run into the strangers as well. Joseph looks uncomfortable. Jealous? Hey Donald, can you help me, wire up these generators? I'll assemble the synthesizer, but I could use some help with the serial interface if you have time. You hear an unfamiliar echo from a tunnel to the east. Maybe if we help Lula, she'll have some more time to tell us. Help Lula. Thanks, Donald. I can never remember which color lead goes to which pin. Lula begins unpacking a box of wires and terminals. Do you think there are paintings down here? Cave paintings, I mean? Maybe some old pottery shards from the world was young and early men and women huddled in these caves too. Do you know, I think cultural fossils are the saddest fossils. Sadder than animal remains. I mean, we might come across a petrified mollusk or a partial dinosaur footprint and we say, there was a point of contact here where a body touched the earth. And maybe there's a little bit of evidential garbage, but the life who owned that body never cared and has moved on anyway. And that's the end of it. But suppose I shine my lantern on one of these walls and I see a crude painting, thousands of years old. 2 men and a woman, charcoal and blood on rock. Someone put that there to keep something on the rock after she passed. A hope, a relationship, or a moment. A worry, maybe a regret. She made a painting to keep something alive for her. But like that dead mollusk in this itinerant dinosaur, she had to move on. Whatever it was is gone. And now we're looking at it, this painting, this dangling copy, with no original. You are interrupted by the ominous echo of a grating, scraping sound from the east, louder than before. What the hell was that? Let's check it out. In tunnels. I like to climb through the tunnel. Let's get weird. I think that happened a long time ago. You rush down the tunnel, with Joseph and Lula close behind. How do you like all this, kid? There's a lot of reading, but I'm really good at that anyway. The tunnel narrows, and soon you find yourself crawling on your hands and knees. Navigating the tunnel gradually becomes more awkward as smooth rock gives way to jagged crystalline surfaces. Scratches and taps echo from the end of the tunnel, some short and piercing, some slow and groaning, as if dampened by water. The tunnel opens into a large room. See this large room? In Crystal Room. Can I move around in it? No? Are these the strangers? Are these the weird guys? You are in a large, irregular chamber. The walls, floors, and ceiling are covered with crystalline projections. Strangers are here, scraping black mold from the crystals. They look up when you enter. One of them seems about to speak. Finally! Let's listen to what he says. The stranger reaches for a box he's carrying and presses a plastic button. The box whirs to life, and a crackly voice blurts something unintelligible and slows to a deep gurgle. He looks at his companions momentarily in confused disappointment. Then he returns his awful gaze to you. Joseph flees the tunnels to the north. Lula flees through the tunnel to the south, to the northeast. Let's follow Lula. I know who that is. Run north. Lula's headlamp scans across the northern passage as you run. Soft shadows loom perplexingly from floor to ceiling. You feel around to distinguish shadows from crystals, but eventually find yourself cornered. You have hit a dead end. Who are they? Comfort her. Comfort Lula. You reassure Lula that the strangers are harmless. Are you sure? Maybe you're right. It sounds like they've gone back to work. Alright, let's try to pass them quickly now. Don't make eye contact. Then we'll find our way back to the equipment. In Bed Quilt. You are in Bed Quilt, a long northeast passage with holes to everywhere. Lula is here, panting for breath. Did they follow us? Where's Joseph? She seems pretty scared. Reassure Lula. I know, but never mind. I don't want to think about it. I guess we should wait for Joseph here. This is where he'll go, right? May as well wait. Time passes. Lula nervously runs her hand along a vein in the cave wall. I guess we should wait for an hour or so. Now let's search for him now. I only understood you as far as wanting to search. Search. We have to be more specific. Search with the equipment. The various computer and audio equipment casts angular shadows into the tunnels as you scan slowly across the pile. Nothing. Down one of the tunnels. Search tunnel. You select a tunnel at random. Your lantern illuminates several sets of footprints on the moldy cave floor. They are impossible to identify. Joseph climbs down from the rope still tied above. That damn sound. Those damn voices. I don't even know what direction I was running. I wove through that network of tunnels. I ran my hand along the wall, always turning left, but every turn and every rock felt the same. For all I knew, I was running in circles. Finally, I ended up here. And I hid. I panicked. I heard you talking, but I didn't think I could trust my senses. But listen, there's one thing I have to tell you while I was out there, lost in the tunnels and caves. I came across the Zero, and I had no idea. It's like a real place. They pick up garbage, they deliver mail, they go to work and to church, but it has an awful kind of emptiness. Wandering through, I heard horrible echoes. Weird images got burned in my mind's eye. A television, a scarecrow, a crystal, a feather, a sandwich, a CRT monitor, a bottle, an anchor. Lula looks down at her feet. We should ask him more about that. Donald, you've heard the same damn stories I have, but it's different. It doesn't matter now, damn it. I'm leaving. To hell with it all. Get him back on track. We're so close. You shout something at Joseph about the project you are working on together. You'll die in these damn cold caves, and what about those men? You know they'll come back. Tell him we can hide from the strangers. You shout something at Joseph about going deeper into the caves. Did you hear their voices? They'll find you, but not me. I'm going back to the surface. Stop. Your stupid fight is ringing through the whole damn cave. Joseph is right. We can't stay here. I'm leaving too, but I'm not going back to the surface. I'm taking my station wagon and I'm heading down the Zero. I think we need her to stay. You plead with Lula about your continued collaboration. I'll send you this tape when I'm done recording. I'll put it in the mail. Then you can see what your damn machine does with it. Lula and Joseph have left, leaving Donald alone with the strangers. So is this like a chronicle of what happened when the strangers came? Abandoned by your collaborators, your confidants, your companions, the only two among your colleagues with whom you've ever trusted the gift of your friendship. Pretty thick. Sounds like Beardo had his heart broken. You wander the tunnels alone, dragging along components of your unrealized masterpiece, combing the underground passages for a new site in which to realize your vision. Sounds like a genius. How do you mean? Vain. Vanity. Ain't it the truth? My Aunt Remedios, before she got into the whole ethnomusicography thing, she was a painter. Mostly nudes in oil. She had this model, I'll never forget him. Big, classically physical guy, looked like he was about to storm Troy. He made everyone call him the Colonel. Weaver and I saw this guy naked a lot. You couldn't help it. He was always posing somewhere in the house, chasing the light from room to room, while Aunt Remedios made a sketch of his profile or worked on the right mix of pigments for his abdomen. The Colonel had this magnificent hair, long black hair that ran down to the bottom of his shoulder blades. One evening, he was standing next to an open window in the back of the house. The sun was setting. Early spring, I think. It was kind of windy. Aunt Remedios was trying to get his hair right. She kept arranging it, like half in front and half behind, running over his shoulder and laying across his chest in a very specific way. But it itched him or something, and he'd do this weird, indignant shuffle thing, or the wind from the open would push it around, or he'd start and turn his neck when Weaver or I would run by, and everything would be tangled again. The final product was a swirl of black lines, billowing around the top of his neck. Weird thing is, I don't even remember his face now, just that black swirl. Probably the best one she ever painted. Hall of the Mountain King. That's where we're at now. Oh. That's where we're at now. What is... I guess they tried to render this whole cave complex digitally. After what may have been years, you stumble out of a tunnel into a cavernous open space. Stalactites adorn the ceiling like grotesques. In the center of the room is an enormous rocky spire. This is where you will set up your equipment and establish your legacy. Oh god, there's a computer. It's getting Inception-like. There's a computer inside the computer. Now is the time to continue your work. Research assistance, 0. Realism index, 37%. Romance index, 2%. Mold coverage, 0%. You may hire a new research assistant, assign assistance to task, or sleep until tomorrow. Well, at this point, folks, we are on the half an hour mark, and we are still not through this episode. I've been convinced it's going to end for a little while now, but it's not. So I'm going to go ahead and make this another end to an episode, and we will start right up back again and hopefully try to wind this whole thing up. I'm very intrigued by this computer, although it is starting to wear on me a little bit, just because it's been the same visually for quite some time. So this might not be the strongest point in the game, but it's still pretty interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this is all going. I do think that the root 0 must somehow be in this computer or something, but that's just a theory at this point. Check out jetpackjoust.com, go to our Facebook, tweet us if you can, tell us what you're thinking about this game. If you're going to pick it up, tell us about what your experience is with all of these different choices you can make, and I definitely think you should. It's a great game, but until next time, that's going to be another Bill Murray.